Hey guys, today we are going to be rounding decimals to the hundredths place, okay? So, we're going to review our place value very quickly. So remember we said all the numbers in front of the decimal are your whole numbers, okay? Which means they're bigger than 1. And then all the numbers after your place value are less than 1. And these are your decimals, okay? So we have 3 decimal place values. We have the tenths place, we have the hundredths place, and we have the thousands place. So today we're going to be rounding to the hundredths place, okay? All right, so let's get started. We're going to start with 0 and 347 thousandths, okay? So remember we are rounding to the hundredths place, so I'm going to underline the hundredths place, which is the 4, okay? So I'm going to use a number line to write the number that I have here, okay? So I have 0 and 34. Now I'm going to drop that 7 and I'm going to put a 0 instead. So 0 and 340 thousandths, okay? And then on the end over here, I'm going to put 0 and 350 thousandths, okay? Because this is 40. When I round down, it's going to be 40, and then when I round up, the next one is 50, okay? We add one more to the 4, okay? All right, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to fill in the rest of my places in the number line, okay? So up here, I'm going to have 0 and 341, 0 and 342, 0 and 343, 0 and 344, 0 and 345, whoops, 0 and 346, 0 and 347, 0 and 348, and 0 and 349, okay? So I was able to fill in all of my number line, okay? All right, so now we're gonna talk about where the middle is, okay? So the middle is right here. 0 and 345 is the middle of the number line, halfway through, okay? Now we're going to find where is 0 and 347, okay? So 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47. So right here is 347, okay? So remember we said that our number line is like a race. This is the start, and this is the finish. Okay? So when you start the race, you go all the way until you stop. Okay? So if we stop right here, we want to ask ourselves, did I get past the halfway point? If I passed the halfway point, that means that I can round up to the next number, okay? So if you pass the halfway point, you can round up to the next number. If you don't pass the halfway point, then you need to round down. So right here, I am past the halfway point, which means I'm closer to the finish line, so I can round up to 0 and 350 thousandths. Okay? All right, let's do one more example together. So this time we're going to have whole numbers. 9 and 523 thousandths. Okay? So again, we're going to underline the hundredths place, which is the 2. Okay? So here I'm going to start with 9 and 520 thousandths, and over here it's going to be 9 and 530 thousandths because we're rounding up to the next. Okay? So now I'm going to fill in my number line. So this is 9 and 521, 9 and 522, 9 and 523, 9 and 524, 9 and 525, 9 and 526, 9 and 527, 9 and 528, 9 and 529. Okay? So I filled in my number line, and we're going to find the halfway point, which is right here. This is the halfway point. Okay? So I'm going to find 9 and 523. 21, 22, 23. So this is where I am in my race. So this is the start, and this is the finish. And I'm going to run my race, and I am right here. This is where I stopped. So if you notice, did I pass the halfway point? No, I did not. Which means I cannot round up to the next value. I have to round down to the start. Okay? So my number would be rounded to 9 and 520 thousandths because I did not pass the halfway point. Okay? So if you pass the halfway point, you round up. If you don't pass the halfway point, you round down.